we are going to start standing up. We'll start with a great big inhale, sweep your arms all the way up and overhead. And exhale, press your breath out, pull your belly in. Repeat, great big inhale, arms up, up and away. And exhale all the way out. One more time, great big inhale, arms all the way up and overhead. Interlace your fingers, turn your palms upward. Press up through the heels of your hands so that you feel your wrists stretching, and then pull your ribs off your hips and continue to breathe. Work up a good yawn or two and let your ribs separate from your hips, get long through the sides of your body. Pedal your feet a little bit, maybe pick up one heel, then the other. Start to wake up your toes a little bit. Shifting your weight side to side, yawning, stretching. Good morning. And then come to neutral and release. Let your arms swing. Shoulders melt away from your ears. Big swinging arms. Big swinging arms. Knees unlocked, toes relaxed. Start letting those arms cross in front. And cross the right arm on top. The right arm on top. Cross the right arm on top. Give yourself a great big hug. Let your shoulders drop down away from your ears. Fingers are below your armpits. Wrap up tight. Give yourself a great big hug. And yawn. Again, shoulders melt away from your ears. You can tick-tock your head side to side. Keep breathing. Each breath like a yawn. A sigh of relief. Shoulders melting away from your ears. Breathe into where your fingertips are touching. Breathe into your back ribs. Let your knees soften a little bit more. And then breathing into that space where your fingertips are touching, breathing into your back ribs. Extend your arms. And as you extend your arms, interlace your fingers. I still have the right arm on top. I've just interlaced my fingers. And bending elbows. Knuckles drop down, in, up, and out. As far as they're willing to go. Knees unlocked, shoulders are still away from your ears. Continue to breathe into that space between your shoulder blades. Maybe even yawn. And feel that bit of a wrist stretch. And then release. Let it go. And we'll repeat on the other side, letting that left arm cross on top. Crossing your left arm on top, left arm on top. Give yourself a great big hug. Drop your shoulders away from your ears, inch your fingertips down below your armpits. Wrap up nice and tight. Breathe into those back ribs. And again, let your head tick-tock side to side. Maybe even yawn. Check in with your toes. Knees are unlocked. Breathing into that spot between your shoulder blades. And then come to neutral. Release your hands. You still have your left arm on top. You're going to bring your hands together to interlace your fingers. Knuckles down, in, up, and out. Going for that wrist stretch. Again, knuckles are falling away from your chest as far as they're willing to go. Shoulders down away from your ears. Again, still nice, long, elegant neck. Knees unlocked, toes relaxed. Going for that wrist stretch. Inhale. And exhale, release. And let those fingers fan. Really flare your fingers wide and do big loopy wrist circles. Unlock your knees. And maybe put your whole body into it, kind of like you're wafting incense up towards your face, getting a good whiff. Maybe breathe with it a little bit. Good sniff. Inhale up. Inhale up. Inhale up. If you were to go to a Qigong class, you would really get into this. Maybe do 2 or 3 minutes of this wafting movement. We're going to reverse. Going to press, smell away. Too much smoke in the nose. Press it down. Again, fingers are flared, getting your wrists to roll. Knees unlocked. If you find yourself kind of pulsing or waving with it, go for it. Maybe breathe with it, push the breath out, push it out, push it out. I think this move is called spooling silk. If you were a knitter, maybe you're familiar with spooling yarn. It's spooling silk, spinning silk. All right, and now press it out. Show me your palms. Fingertips point towards one another. With fingertips pointing towards one another, put your palms together. Shoulders down away from your ears, and find yourself in a Namaste hand position. Shoulders down away from your ears. Drag the heels of your hands down level with your elbows. Down the midline of your chest. Try pushing the pinky finger sides of your hands completely together. Big chesty breath. Long, elegant neck. So here's Namaste in the front. Let's flip it over and do backs of the hands together. Same idea, dragging your hands down midline, try pressing the backs of your thumbs together. Wrists level with your elbows. Shoulders relaxed, long neck, relaxed jaw. Here's a reverse Namaste in the front. And now we'll go for a reverse Namaste in the back. So hands come behind, fingertips touch, palms come together, and then you slide your hands up between your shoulder blades, trying to push your thumbs together. For this one, the higher you can inch those fingertips, the more intense the stretch will be. So those fingertips slide up into that groove between your shoulder blades. You're trying to push the thumbs, the thumb pads, your hands together. Shoulders down away from your ears, heads on straight, knees unlocked. And breathe. And then release. And again, roll those hands, flare your fingers. Stepping forward towards the front edge of your mat. Take a great big inhale, arms come all the way up and overhead. And with knees bent, swan dive down into a forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release. Knees bent, reverse swan dive. Inhale, arms up, up and away. And as you exhale, release your left hand down. Inhale, stretch up through your right side. And over into a bit of a side stretch. Lengthening out through your pinky finger, maybe sweeping back through your thumb a little bit. And with an inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, release. Inhale, both arms up and overhead. Knees bent, swan dive down, forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, release. Knees bent, reverse swan dive. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, left hand down. Inhale, stretch up. I said right hand down. Reach up through that left side of your body and over into a side stretch. Reaching through fingertips, lengthening through your pinky finger, maybe sweeping back through your thumb. And inhale, come all the way up and release. Once again, great big inhale, both arms up and overhead. Exhale, swan dive down, forward fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, release. Put enough bend in your knees so that you can slide your hands underneath your feet. Let there be enough bend in your knees so that you can slide your palms underneath the soles of your feet. You're gonna stand on your hands. So the back of your hand is on the floor. Palms of your hands are touching the soles of your feet, and your toes are all the way up to your bracelets. Toes are touching your wrists. Knees unlocked. Feet are apart so that you can balance here. Head hangs. And breathe. From here, let's transition. Slip your hands out from underneath your feet. Put your hands down on the floor, spread your fingers wide. Step back with your feet into your downward facing dog. And take your feet apart, 1 foot on either side of your mat, and begin to pedal your feet. Now your fingers are spread wide. Maybe even turn out to the sides a little bit. As you prance and dance your hips side to side, let your hips swish and sway. Find yourself tiptoeing, maybe swinging your heels side to side, pulling your ribs out of your hips. Fingers are spread wide. Hands look like starfish. And then rise up onto tippy toes. Bend your knees down to the mat. Toes are curled under, so you feel your toes stretching. And then sit back over your heels. So this is what the profile view looks like. Got my toes curled under. I'm going to turn to face the screen. So with toes curled under, go ahead and have those pinky toes curled under as well. You can have your blocks nearby for balance sake, or to help you lift some of the weight off of those toes. If it's too intense, you can come into a kneeling position. Otherwise, sit down on it. Flare your heels out to the sides. Palms forward, shoulder shrug, inhale up. Exhale back and down. Inhale, both arms up and overhead. And exhale, release. How about one more breath here? Great big inhale, both arms up and overhead. And exhale, release. All right, we're going to come back into that downward facing dog. And in that downward facing dog, bottoms up you go. Flip the toes of one foot backward, and then flip the toes of the other foot backward. So stretching the top sides of the feet. And as you do this, keep your hands spread wide. Again, your hands have a pie wedge between each and every finger. Again, to activate your hands a little bit more by gripping the mat, claw at the mat so that your nail beds blanch white. And continue to alternate feet here, stretching the top sides of the feet, stretching the toes backwards the other way. And then once again, from downward facing dog, rise up onto tippy toes, bend your knees down to the mat. Make sure those pinky toes are curled under. And even kind of back your knees up so those toes are really tightly curled under. As much as you can. Toes are curled under, pinky toes curled under as well. Again, this is what the profile view looks like. Inhale, shoulder shrug up, back and down. If you needed to modulate the intensity, you can be up here kneeling, using the blocks for balance if you need to do that. Big inhale, arms up and overhead. Interlace your fingers, turn your palms up towards the sky. Put your head on level. Pull your front ribs and belly in. And if it works for you, sit down a little bit heavier onto those heels. Again, letting those heels flare out to the sides, heels spread. So pinky toes are really squealing. Those little piggies are going wee, wee, wee all the way home this morning. Thumbs press up, shoulders draw down. Inhale. And one more time, exhale, release. Once again, into that downward facing dog. And once again, consider flipping those toes backwards, 1 foot at a time. When you've worked the sting out of your toes, you've got blood flow into your feet and your hands. Fingers are spread wide, hands are still alive, toes are starting to come back to life. Fingertips are very active, clawing at the mat. We're going to once again come on down to downward facing dog, but this time, come on down to hands and knees. Untuck your toes. Big toes together, knees apart, back your hips up onto your heels for your child's pose. Big toes together, knees apart, hips on your heels for child's pose. Notice my head is not on the ground. I am pushing into my hands, dramatically rounding my back as much as possible, trying to staple my hips to my heels. This is not about putting your face to the floor. Press into your hands, back your hips up. Lean into that spot between your shoulder blades. and soften. All right, having those blocks nearby will help you to balance, help you to shift your weight from side to side. From here, shift your weight over to one side, pick up one knee. Doesn't matter if it's your left or your right. Just shift your weight to one side, pick up the knee, and feel that stretch down the front of your foot, the top of the foot. Again, using those blocks for balance. Let's shift and switch over to the other side. Peel up the other knee. And reset. Hands and knees. Toes curled under puts more pressure on the knees, keeps the legs a little bit more awake, and putting more pressure on the knees, you might consider putting a pillow underneath those knees. Or if you don't have padding this morning, or if your toes are done with this, you can have your toes pointed backwards, and that takes a little less pressure on the knees. It disperses that pressure down the shin. The legs are not quite as active. So either way is legit. For whatever reason you've got going on this morning, you can have toes pointed or curled under. Yogi's choice. Padding underneath your knees if you need it. Hands beneath your shoulders, fingers spread wide. In fact, pop up onto fingertips. Get your palms off the floor, just your fingertips touch down. Begin with an inhale, lift your head up, your tail up, come into your cow. And as you exhale, press your breath out, pull out your belly, pull in your belly. Exhale into cat. Inhale, cow. And exhale for cat. Back and forth through cat and cow. As you wave your spine up and down for cat and cow, keep your belly pulled up away from the floor so that you can lift weight out of your hands. Fingertips. Light, if you can make them light. Pull weight out of your hands by lifting your belly away from the floor. Waving your spine back and forth through cat and cow. With your next exhale, come up into that cat pose. Locate your right hand, and with an inhale, sweep that right arm up and open. You're still up on the fingertips of the left hand. And as you exhale, slide that right arm underneath, putting your right shoulder blade on the ground, turning your head to put the back of your skull, the base of your skull down on the ground. Feel that right shoulder blade peel away from your spine. Feel the top shoulder, your left shoulder, lift away from your ear so that you can still breathe. And I'm going to leave you here long enough that you have to breathe. I'm going to encourage you to breathe into that right shoulder blade. Push into your left hand with an inhale. Come back up to hands and knees. Inhale into cow. Exhale into cat. Again, come up onto your fingertips. From that cat pose, locate your left arm, and with an inhale, sweep your left arm up and open. Again, you're up on the fingertips of the right hand. And then as you exhale, slide that left arm underneath, putting your left shoulder blade on the ground. Back of your head on the ground. Top shoulder off your face so that you can still breathe. Top hand is a kickstand. And I'm leaving you there long enough that you have to breathe. Direct your breath into that left shoulder blade. And then pushing into your right hand, inhale, come all the way back up. Once again, cow, and exhale for cat. And then from that neutral spine, neither cat nor cow, belly still pulled up into your body, hands still spread wide, toes are on the mat with you. Gonna bottoms up into that downward facing dog once again. I'm going to reposition my pillow now so that it will end up underneath my hips. I recommend you do the same, because from that downward facing dog, you're going to transition forward to the top of a push-up. Again, have that block ready, like the pillow ready to go underneath your hips, and then come on down for a landing. Pillow underneath your hip bones. Arms go out wide to the side. There we go, still on frame. Good. Up on fingertips. Turn and place your left cheek down. So you're going to look towards that right hand and lift both elbows up. Let your elbows tip forward. Elbows tip forward, looking to the right. And inhale up and look left. Elbows tip forward. And come to neutral. So with your elbows tipping forward, you feel your shoulders slouching forward. Your shoulders come up by your head. And then come back to neutral. We're going to turn and look to the right. Let your right shoulder slouch forward. Pull your left shoulder slouches forward. Right shoulder peels back. So one shoulder up, one shoulder down. Looking to the right, peeling your right shoulder up, letting your left shoulder dive down. Starting to twist your torso. Inhale. Look left, slouch. Right. Come to center. Bring your hands in a little bit more narrow and twist once again. Looking right, slouching left. And switch. Look left, slouch right. So one shoulder is down, one shoulder is up. And come to neutral. And bring your hands in even more narrow, getting a little bit more twist. Look right, slouch left. Switch. And I'm up on fingertips so I can get as much twist and height in those shoulders as I possibly can. A couple more times each side. When you've gotten a good stretch in the shoulders and you feel comfortable that you won't be able to go any further doing this twist, then you get to come to neutral. All right, I'm going to back up, make sure I'm on camera with you. Find your blocks and take those blocks out in front. Now, one block, place your elbows on top of. Elbows narrow. And then the other block goes between your hands, between your pinky fingers. So elbows are narrow, thumbs hitchhiking out to the side, pinky fingers holding onto the blocks. This is what it looks like front view. I'm going to go sideways so you can see the profile view of that one. I just wanted you to see how narrow my elbows are on that one. Elbows are quite narrow. Pinky finger holding onto the edge of the blocks, thumbs pointing sideways. Notice my forearms are straight up and down, vertical. Shoulders down away from the ears. There's really no good place for your head, so go ahead, let your head rest down. And breathe. Gravity is going to give you the shoulder stretch on this one. Can you relax your butt? After you've gotten in 3 or 4 or 5 long, slow breaths, you're going to go where you're going with this one this morning. And then slowly you lift your head up and reset. And come into a slightly different position. Elbows come beneath your shoulders now. So the elbows directly underneath the shoulders. Shoulders shrug away from the ears. Palms are turned up. Elbows are narrow. Thumbs press out to the sides. Good. And put the back of your hands down. Shoulders pull away from your ears. Drag your head back. Make a double chin as much as you can. Drag your head back. Tuck your chin in. Make a double chin. As you press down into your elbows, shrug out of your shoulders. Pressing the back of your hands down towards the ground. Can you relax your butt? Let it go. And release. All right. Make a frame out of your hands around the block. So palms are down, framing the block with your hands. Elbows narrow, shoulders down away from your ears. Pressing down into your elbows, backing your head up, making that double chin. The back of your neck is long and wrinkle-free. And then chin tucks into your chest. You're going to put your chin hairs on your chest hairs and let your head rotate. Twist. So scrub your chin hairs against your chest hairs. Again, shoulders are pulled down away from your ears. Once again, check in with your butt. Relax that booty butt. And then release. All right. It is downward facing dog time once again. So on this transition, shrug your shoulders up away from your ears. Hands are parked underneath your chest. Lift your belly up first and then back up into that child's pose. Do make sure your feet are up on the mat with you. You do want your feet on the same surface as your hands so that you don't slide across the floor. And then come on up into your downward facing dog. Toes curled under, fingers spread wide. Let your arms plug deep into the shoulder joint. Let your head hang. Screw your unicorn horn into the floor. Feel that shoulder and neck stretch just by letting your arms plug in. Now, fingers are spread wide. Take the outer rim of your armpit and wrap it around to your face. How the heck do you do that? Put a slight bend in your elbows and wrap the outside of your arms around toward your face, kind of like you're checking for deodorant. Outer rim of your armpit wraps around towards your face. Elbows have to bend for you to do that. Slight bend in the elbows. And with head hanging, turn your head like you're unscrewing a light bulb, and you might get a bit of a neck stretch. All right, from downward facing dog, rise to tippy toes, shift your body weight forward, come to the top of a push-up. And from the top of that push-up, hold your plank pose, belly pulled in nice and tight. Still slight bend in the elbows. Fingers spread wide. Lower your knees down and untuck your toes, back your hips up for that child's pose. All right, toes curl under. Once again, bottoms up into that downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, rise to tippy toes, pull your belly in, shift your body weight forward, and tippy toes, step forward towards the front edge of your mat. Bend your knees. With a reverse swan dive, inhale, come all the way up to standing. And exhale, release your arms down to your sides. Now you might want to reorient yourself so that when you step your feet wide, you're still looking at the screen. Take your feet wide. Nice wide stride between your feet and take up lots of space. Check the distance between your feet. If you have your camera on, you can see that. Your ankles are underneath your wrists. Unlock your knees. Let's turn the right foot to the right. Make sure that left toe is turned in a little bit. Right toes turn out, left toes turn in. Arms up ahead. As you exhale, arms level with your shoulders. Shoulders down away from your ears. Invite your right knee to bend. In fact, bring both hands to your hips and then locate your right hand and drag from the inner thigh to the knee, Open up that right groin. Swing the right knee to the right a little bit more. Now your left hand can twist your belly to the left. You want to open up the distance between belly button and inner knee. And lunge a little bit lower. Big inhale, come all the way up. And as you exhale, repeat. Coming into that warrior two. Still feel as if you had another set of hands, an extra set of hands. One hand pulling your belly button to the left, the other hand swinging your right knee to the right. Beautiful. Inhale. And exhale, lunge a little bit lower. And with an inhale, come all the way up. And let's switch sides. Release your hands down to your hips. Turn your feet to go the other direction. So again, you still have a wide stride between your feet. Left toes turn out, right toes turn in a little bit. Big inhale, both arms up and overhead. Exhale, drop into that lunge. And then self-correct. Sweep from inner thigh towards knee. Open it up a little bit more. Twist belly to the right. Shoulders down away from your ears. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, arms level as you lunge a little lower. You could finish it by looking out over your left hand. Big inhale, come all the way up. And reset. Repeat, let's switch sides again. Going back to that first side, pivot your feet, all 10 toes going the same direction, more or less. Big inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, come into that warrior two, twisting your belly to the left, opening your right knee to the right. There should be an arch in your right foot. You should be able to wiggle your toes on both feet. Looking out over that right hand, stretch, lengthen out a little bit more. Bring that right elbow to your knee. Both shoulders shrug away from your ears. Now this top hand comes to your hip. You're gonna hitchhike that top shoulder onto your back. So I'm rotating not just my wrist, but my arm and my shoulder, getting that top shoulder blade down onto my back. Front ribs and belly are pulled in. Bend the top elbow. Ready, aim, fire. Extend that arm alongside your head. Gonna shrug out of the bottom shoulder. Lift that pelvic floor. Create space. Get long. And lift off the floor as much as you can. Big inhale, come all the way up. And let's switch sides. Pivot, switch, reset. Big inhale, arms up. And exhale, warrior two. Good. Lengthen out a little bit more. Left elbow on your lap. Right hand on your hip. Hitchhike. Wrist, shoulder, arm, everything back. Front ribs and belly are pulled in. Bend that elbow. Ready, aim, and fire. Extend. Steer that left knee to the left. You can use your left elbow. Swing that left knee out. Still twisting your belly away from your bent knee. Shrugging out of the bottom shoulder. This is side angle. Krounchasana. Big inhale, come all the way up. And once again, switch. Now do have your blocks nearby because we'll be transitioning into a half moon pose in a moment. I like to put one block on either end of the mat, just so I have it ready to go when I switch sides. It's down there by my ankle. Big inhale, arms up. And exhale, warrior two. Shoulders down away from your ears. Exhale, stretch, lengthen. Turning this into the Krounchasana, elbow on the lap. Shoulder shrug, hitchhike. Ready, aim, fire. Extend into that side angle pose. Now check this out. I'm going to take this top hand, sweep it out in front of me like I'm wiping a table. Smack that table. Shrug the top shoulder onto my back even more. Get even more chest rotation. Turn chest open towards the sky even more. Bent knee, still swinging to the right. This is my starting position. So I want to be really open in the chest. Top hand comes to the hip once again. I'm going to reach down and find my block. Do not look down, just find it without looking for it. Hand on the block. Now I'm going to drag my left leg in, and as I do so, I'm going to pull up that pelvic floor. So I'm going to take that left leg, drag it in, pulling up on that pelvic floor, lifting left leg into the air. Right hand on a block, standing on my right leg. Still chest turned open towards the sky. If you're feeling good about it, go ahead, raise your hand. And high five an imaginary friend for balance, stability. Standing knee is unlocked. There's an arch in that right foot. Breathing. And then gracefully release and come all the way up. We're going to prepare to do the other side. So step your feet wide once again. Inhale up. Exhale into warrior two. Shoulders down away from your ears. Lengthen, stretch, reach. Elbow on your lap. Hitchhike, top shoulder onto your back. Ready, aim, fire. Side angle pose. Shrugging out of that bottom shoulder, steering the left knee to the left. Twisting your belly away from the bent knee. Top hand comes out in front of you, wiping a table. Smack that table. Drag the table towards you, shrugging that top shoulder onto your face, getting as maximum chest open rotation that you can. Top hand to your hip. Without looking for it, feel for it, find your block. So I'm not even going to look down at it. And take that straight leg and drag it in, pulling in that pelvic floor, lifting as much weight off the floor as you can as you float on up to your half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Standing knee is unlocked. Top arm extends and you high five an imaginary friend, still turning your chest open towards the sky as much as you can. Standing knee is soft. Toes are relaxed, flared even. An arch in both feet. And then gracefully bend the standing knee, touch down, and with an inhale, come all the way up. Feet nice and wide, toes turned in. Hands at the top of your thighs. You're going to bend your knees, press your inner thighs back, flip your buns up towards the sun as you head down. Knees unlocked. Toes turned in, heels kicking out. Heels stick down to the floor because you're on a non-skid surface, hopefully. And as much as you push your heels wide, they don't actually go anywhere. So really work it. Feet are stuck to the floor. They're not going anywhere, but engage, shove your heels wide. And with your knees unlocked, pressing your heels wide, you'll feel your sit bones spread from side to side. Stick your butt out. Head hangs down. Shoulders lift up away from your ears. Fingers spread on the ground. Hands on the ground, skid your hands backwards so that the heels of your hands line up with the heels of your feet. Elbows are narrow, shoulders shrug away from your ears. Top of your head drills down towards the floor. Pulling your shoulders away from your ears, top of your head down towards the floor. Heels of your hands line up with the heels of your feet on an imaginary line at the back edge of your mat. As close as you're going to get this morning. Almost like you're setting up for a tripod headstand. Elbows narrow. Now, it is completely unethical. It's a bad idea for me as a yoga teacher online, not in person, to have you go into a tripod headstand. And I know some of you have been doing this for a long time. If you know what you're doing, you know what you're doing. Otherwise, it's Sunday morning. Just hanging out here is a good stretch. Then unlock your knees and crawl your hands forward. And then step your feet in, narrow, and come on down. Big toes together, knees apart, hips back on your heels for child's pose. All right, and then walking your hands up towards your lap. Go ahead, swing your legs out in front. And finding your blocks, you're going to arrange your blocks in what I call butt cheek configuration so that you have one block for each cheek and sit upon your blocks. Legs out in front. And you'll see what I'm doing here. I'm kind of lifting and separating. Pull the flesh away from your bones so that your butt bones perch themselves right on the very front edge of those blocks. So your bony butt bones are on the edge of those blocks. And this helps you to tip your hips forward in such a way that you can sit upright and tall. If you're not quite sitting upright and tall, you might need to sit on more height. You can cover your blocks up with a pillow to give yourself a little bit more lift. Please bend your right knee. Work your fingertips behind your right knee. Feel for those two rope-like cords, and then hollow out with your fingertips, that pocket between those cords. This helps to disperse the joint fluid in that knee joint. So maybe you can bend the knee a little bit tighter than usual. So hollow out that jelly between those rope-like cords, and then leave one hand in there, hollowing out behind the knee. Use the other hand to drag that heel in tight, nice and close. Foot stays flat down on the ground. Get in there with your right hand, move your belly skin up and over. Get that jelly to move. Move that belly up and over. Shoulder shrug that right shoulder up, back and down, and you can use your right hand as a kickstand. Left arm comes up and diagonal across. Some of you have long enough arms to hook your elbow to the outside. Most of us will hook our elbow around the knee. Shoulders down away from your ears. Turn and look over your right shoulder. Now, what's the left leg doing, the straight leg? Well, that left foot is flexed flat and your left leg is straight, but it's still pulling backward into socket to help you to stabilize your hips. So that left leg is engaged, pulled into your pelvis to help stabilize your pelvis so that the twist mostly happens in your chest. And unwind. And let's switch sides. Start by bending that left knee, hollow out behind the knee. And then leave one hand in there, hollowing out behind the knee. Use the other hand to drag that heel in tight, close to your body. Now this is your right leg. Your right leg is straight. Your right foot flexed flat. Your right leg stays short, plugged in. Left shoulder, Well, first, left hand gets in there and moves your belly skin across. Left shoulder then hitchhikes up, back, and down. Left hand is a kickstand. Right arm comes up and diagonal across, either to the outside or around the knee as you sit up tall and twist to the left. And keep that right leg engaged, right leg short. And release. All right, let's switch again. Bend that right knee up, hollow it out. Drag it in. This time, after you've dragged it in as far as it goes, let it open out to the side. And if you have an extra block or a couple of pillows handy, you might prop up that knee so that you still stay upright. You don't fall over to the side. Foot goes against leg, leg goes against foot. Straight leg is short, plugged into socket. Shoulders are up, back, and down. We're going to twist over the straight leg. So locate your left shoulder, shoulder shrug up, back and down. Bring your left hand down like a kickstand. Right arm comes up, diagonal across. This hand comes diagonal across, so your palm is turned up, comes to the outside of the leg. You can use the back of your wrist against the thigh to help you twist a little bit more. And soften. I'm going to twist that way again in just a moment, but first we're going to bend up this left leg as well. So bring this left leg in. Hollowing out the knee. So you can bring that heel in really close. Left hand gets in there, move your belly up and over your thigh. Left shoulder shrug, hitchhike up, back, and down. Left hand is a kickstand. Now this right arm's going to come diagonal across. The palm is turned up. You're going to actually grab a hold of the big toe. Shoulders back, chest lifted, sit up tall, and when you're ready for it, kick out and twist. And release. And unwind. Let's switch sides. Take a moment to take both legs straight. Get your pillows ready for the other side. Start by bending the left knee up, hollowing out that left knee pit. Drag that left heel in, foot against thigh, thigh against foot, letting the left knee open out to the side, catching it with blocks or pillows so that you don't fall over with it. Left leg short and straight. Left shoulder shrugs up, back and down. Left hand is a kickstand. This is your right shoulder. Right shoulder hitchhike up, back, and down. Right hand is a kickstand. Left arm comes across, diagonal, palm up. Twisting, looking over your right shoulder. And soften. Take it to the next level by bending that right knee, hollowing out that right knee pit, dragging that right heel in closer. Right hand helps pull that belly across your thigh. Right shoulder hitchhike up, back, and down. Kickstand. Left arm comes up, diagonal across to grab a hold of that big toe. Kick it out. But as you kick it out, you're still pulling it into socket. Still stay short. So you're plugging that leg in so that you can sit up taller and twist. And then soften and release. And it is time to make our way down to the floor. So again, rearranging your toys. Have all your toys nearby. And come on down. Using your pillow underneath your head, if you like. And then separate your feet as wide apart as your mat, letting your knees tick-tock side to side like windshield wipers. And when you've had enough of that, you get to come to neutral. Bring one knee at a time, both knees into your chest. Give those knees a hug as you rock from side to side. Walk your hips away from your shoulders. Really spread out your back, waist, and lower back on the floor. If you like, you can tie your thighs together. We're heading towards Shavasana. So this is one variation on Shavasana, constructive rest pose, or Ardha Shavasana, half Shavasana. For this one, you tie your thighs together. If you know how to buckle your belt, I recommend that. You don't want to cut off circulation, but you do want to belt your legs closed. Keep them securely fastened so that you can completely relax all muscular effort. So tying your legs together, not to cut off circulation, just to hold them together. And then knees bent, feet flat. Feet go as wide apart as the mat, toes turned in. Securely fastened. Seatbelts on. Get ready to take off for Shavasana. Toes turn in, knees lean together. Legs held together with the belt so that you can completely relax. And then find your breath. Let your breath come slowly in and out through your nose, creating a whispering, ocean-like sound at the back of your throat. To find the back of your throat, you can swallow. You could also clear your throat. And let there be a heaviness, a slight constriction at the back or base of your throat, so that your breath scrapes through your throat, creating a whispering, ocean-like sound.